What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Saturday, March 7th, 2026, and we are back with another weekly recap here on the Torian Reign Reloaded channel. If you have not done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you are new. And if you are new to the channel, I'm glad that you are here. Make sure to hit the bell twice to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live, or join the Discord and you can get notified in there. And there's been quite a few people that have joined the Discord in the last couple of days. You know, if y'all saw the community post that I made, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I told y'all that my channel has pretty much hit a plateau at this point. This is like the second time this has happened, like probably ever, or one that lasted this long. Like I said, the last time it happened, it probably lasted about 2 months before I broke through the plateau. And now it's happening again for a second time. I'm not exactly sure why it is. But KG did make a good point. It's probably an algorithmic change because YouTube changes its algorithm a lot. I think probably damn near on a monthly basis. Some of them are good and some of them are just downright questionable, like the one that's going on right now. But it is what it is, and we're going to do what we're going to do. But yes, this, like I said, is another weekly recap that we are about to get into. We have quite a few stories to go over, as you can see, the ones that's in the title, but there's also one additional one I added in there as well, and we're going to go over that one as well. But before we get into all of that, let me acknowledge those who are here so far in the chat. We got Firebat, Wallow J, Dimpleface Hurricane, Nisi, SD Johnson, Scoop, The Atavist, Kendall, Irie Farms, Boilermaker, Solo T, Renz, J Cage, Kindred, J Joe, 4040, Mahako, and that is it so far in the chat. Also, if you are a member of the channel, you know that you received a members only video last night. I'm also going to do a members only video today as well, but I'm gonna upload that after the live is over, so y'all will get that maybe about a good 5 minutes after the live is complete. But shout out to everyone that is here so far. Again, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit the like button. And with that being said, we are now going to go ahead and just jump straight into these topics. So the first one that we're going to go over today is Nipsey Hussle. Now, in case y'all are unaware, Nipsey Hussle got an intersection named after him on Slauson and Crenshaw. Well, it used to be Slauson and Crenshaw, but now it's been officially named Nipsey Hussle Square. So I'm going to go ahead now and play this news clip, and we'll go from there.
Late rapper Nipsey Hussle is getting a special honor with a local intersection being renamed after the legendary artist.
Eyewitness News reporter Carly Gomez has more on how his family is now celebrating Nipsey Hussle Square.
This is Nipsey Hussle Square.
Hustle inspired the youth, inspired the people from the hood, inspired the uninspirable, as people would say, and put another light on it.
Hundreds showed up to celebrate the sign dedication at Slauson Avenue and Crenshaw Boulevard, now known as Nipsey Hussle Square. Hussle's mom, Angelique, leaving a message for fans.
Just want to inspire everyone here through your struggles, through your setbacks, your challenges, your haters. Respond with love.
Before Nipsey became a community activist, he and his brother frequented this intersection selling Hussle's mixtapes. He eventually was signed by a label and became a Grammy-winning artist.
Ever since I was a little girl, my mom used to play it around me, and then my uncle who's a huge fan, and I lived with him most of my life, so I kind of took it on from him.
Before he was shot and killed outside his store in 2019, Hussle spoke often about reducing gang violence and gun violence in his community.
His love for Los Angeles was insurmountable, and he could invest his money anywhere, somewhere that costs less, somewhere with less issues. But he determined that LA is where he wanted to be.
The foundation now serves as a community resource, creating programs to aid and encourage local youth. The name change all coming due to tens of thousands of petition signatures coming into LA City Council members' offices, all to honor the life and legacy of Nipsey Hussle. Reporting from Nipsey Hussle Square, Carly Gomez, ABC 7 Eyewitness.
All right, so shout out to Nipsey Hussle's family, his brother, his mother, everyone that was around and associated with him. And like his death still makes me mad because I saw what he was getting ready to do outside of the music industry. And he was really about to make a huge, huge change. And then you know how it goes. But also the same weekend, they have a establishment, a restaurant called Marathon Burgers, and they just opened up one. I think they said out in Long Beach, so that they had a grand opening for that. So it was like one big Nipsey Hussle tribute type weekend. Now, unfortunately, there was some shaky activity that did happen at that grand opening. But despite all of that, that happened as well, and there was a lot of like different celebrities that was there. I think Snoop was there. He was actually there for the ribbon cutting ceremony. I think I saw Stevie Wonder even came through, so that's a huge deal because I think they said Stevie Wonder was one of Nipsey Hussle's favorite artists, and it's just a shame that I don't know if they actually met, but he just happened to be there. So shout out to Nipsey Hussle. And shout out to Lauren London because those words stuck true for what she said when he passed. She said the marathon continues, and as you can see, like it's still happening. I remember I went to LA back in 2022, and the people who I was out there with, they took me to Slauson. They actually took me to where the marathon store was at, but like I said, it's gated, so you couldn't go onto the property. But I was able to look at the property from outside the gate, and then they had a mural. I think the mural that they showed in this news clip was the same one that I saw. And they also had one out there with Kobe and his daughter and everything like that. But, one thing before I go to the next thing I couldn't help but notice is them high gas prices. Listen, them high gas prices out there look exactly the same as it was when I went to LA back in 2022. Ain't nothing changed. But that's the first bit of the good news that I wanted to start off with. The next thing I wanted to go to is Sinners in the winning weekend that they had last weekend as far as awards go. So last week you had two award ceremonies. You had the Image Awards, which was a week ago, and then you had SAG. Well, it's called the Actor Awards now. That was on Sunday, and at the Image Awards, Sinners pretty much swept every category that they were in. I think they said Sinners was nominated for like 13, if I'm not mistaken. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they won all 13 awards, including the bigger ones. And Michael B. Jordan actually won 2 awards. He actually won for Outstanding Actor, and he won Entertainer of the Year. And I think this is the second time Michael B. Jordan won Entertainer of the Year. I didn't know you could win more than once, but apparently they loved it so much that he got awarded a second time. And also the Image Awards this year, I know some people may not watch it because it's attached to the NAACP, but it felt different this year. And I think it's because it's coming off of what happened at the BAFTAs. So every time Sinners was highlighted, they always got a standing ovation. I was looking at some footage that people were posting from the actual inside of the auditorium. And every time they went to a commercial break, everybody flocked to Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo to ask them how they were doing and take pictures with them and everything like that. So it felt like a community, like a camaraderie. But every time Sinners won something, it was a standing ovation. Like it was a big deal. So shout out to them. But also going to the next night, which was the Actor Awards, the shock of the night was Michael B. Jordan winning Best Actor, because everybody's, they're doing this whole thing with him versus Timothée Chalamet, but he ended up winning Best Actor, and you can tell he was genuinely shocked. But when I was looking at the people around him, they were all genuinely happy because they know what this movie is. They know what this movie is. And then he got a standing ovation. He went up there. He got a little emotional. But what really got me was Viola Davis and her. I'm telling you something. Black people, when black people win something that especially very well deserved, we not going to be able to show our poker face, because Viola Davis's reaction, she should have gotten an award just for that alone. I don't know if anybody saw it, but her reaction was like that proud auntie that was so proud of her nephew for winning just some type of an award. It was genuine. And then follow up right after that, the big award got announced, which was Best Ensemble, which is basically Best Movie. And then Sinners won that. So it was a back-to-back win. And that's when Sam Jackson presented that. And even his reaction told me all I needed to know before he actually said Sinners had won. Like I said, if Black people, we can't hide our joy. That's just something. That's just what it is. Now, of course, as y'all know, the Oscars is next Sunday, the 15th. So now the stage is set. I think the voting for Oscars just ended last week. So all the votes are in. So now it's just a waiting game. Exactly, Emmanuel. You can't fake that type of love. You can't fake that type of reaction. That's genuine. And I actually saw on Threads, someone had put together a video compilation of Black people presenting awards to Black people who won something. And every single reaction or award reaction was one of those, like, we just can't give a stale saying, oh, this person, they won and everything like that. It felt like a celebration before the actual trophy was handed to the recipient. But yeah, shout out to everybody that's involved with Sinners. The Oscars is next week. We're gonna see how that goes down. Now that all of this has happened, now all eyes are going to be on that. A lot of eyes are going to be on that next week. And depending on how everything turns out, it's either going to be talked about one way or another. But we shall see. And shout out to everyone else that we're going to get to that. DSM Sinister, that's one of the topics. Deon Cole. We're going to talk about that. I got some stuff to say about that. But shout out to everybody for that's in the chat right now. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, let's go ahead and get into these ridiculous stories right here. The first one we're going to start off with is Dom Lucre. Now, y'all know I have talked about Dom Lucre on my channel plenty of times. Now, if I was not going to talk about him in this live stream today, I definitely would have made a Bed Bucking Hall of Shame entry for him, and y'all would have probably saw it maybe over the weekend, even though I try to not upload videos on the weekend, but I think we would have found a spot for him. So, as y'all know, what's going on in the world, the whole thing with Iran or Iran, however you want to pronounce it, is happening right now. Why did this clown, Dom Lucre, as far as I'm concerned, he's displayed, in my honest opinion, behavior before, but this one right here is different because this could have put FBA in a very bad spot. So I want y'all to look at this caption that he wrote. Let me zoom in a little bit so y'all can read it. So this is Dom Lucre's official Twitter account. He said, developing. Young Black Americans are allegedly releasing weed strains dedicated to Iran Supreme Leader Ali Hosseini Khamenei. Forgive me if I mispronounce this man's name. Where they can roll him up after President Trump put him in a pack. Mind you, the video that he posted with these guys in it is an old video. It is a video from, I think I had read from 2023. Why would you put this in there? A lot of Black Americans didn't even know who this dude was. And then I actually read some information up about this dude, the guy, the leader. Apparently, he was very against the WS establishment that is running rampant in the US. But like I said, I've loathed Dom before, but this one pissed me off really something serious. Because that could have fell on us. Like I said, many Black Americans didn't even know who this dude was. We are the type of, if we don't know, if it's not affecting us directly, we most likely don't care. But he posted this up, and here's the thing. He posted this up on February 28th. That was exactly a week ago. He still left it up. He had enough time to take it down, but I knew he wouldn't do it. I'm not surprised by this because this is not the first time that Dom Lucre has posted up some propagandized type stuff on his page before. He's been known to do this for years. People call him out on it and he still does it. It's almost like he wears it with a badge of honor. I still remember when I went to my homecoming last year and I saw him and Emerald Fool standing side by side at the airport. Oh my God. It's one thing when you see it online, but then you see him in person, it's like, ugh, you dustier in person. But yeah, that just screams oppish behavior to me. Black people weren't celebrating this. Like I said, many black people didn't even know who this guy was until what's happening right now. And many black people still don't know who he is. But yeah, screw Dom Lucre for that, like for life. Let's move on to this one now. Speaking of wars, now this one is very interesting and kind of funny to say the least. Barron Trump. This is someone that I have never talked about on my channel before. If y'all don't know who Barron Trump is, he is the youngest and, as far as I know, the last born of the Trump children. He is the child with Trump and Melania. And you know they're talking about this war and everything like that. They said, well, since we're talking about wars and sending people over, why don't we send your kid over? So look at this. South Park writer launches draft Barron campaign to send Donald Trump's son Barron to the Iran war. Now it's satirical, so it's not real, but they're saying, but people like say, you know what? It may be satire, but after all, when you think about it, his dad claimed that he couldn't go because of quote unquote bone spurs. Hey, I have to frame it like that, Kendra, because you just never know. I mean, look at Elon, how many kids he got. Is it a satirical website calling for Donald Trump's youngest son, Barron, age 19, to be drafted into the U.S. military has been created as the U.S. and Israel launch strikes on Iran. The hashtag Send Barron has been trending on social media. Operation Epic Fury, which has seen the U.S. Israel launch extensive airstrikes against Iran, has claimed the lives of 6 American service members. Donald Trump has been criticized for a perceived lack of concern over the loss of life. And y'all, I don't know if y'all have seen it online, but this right here is where a lot of people in MAGA are going to turn on him. I'm sure many of you have seen it. I don't know if y'all seen that ridiculous video from Nick Fuentes, but he said, I'm going to go ahead now and become a Democrat. And a host of other ones are doing it too. I think a lot of them are just being performative. And I said, I'll believe it when I see it. It says, during his brief remarks at a Medal of Honor ceremony yesterday, in the wake of the attacks, commentators noted that Trump appeared indifferent towards death, preferring to speak about his plans for the new ballroom at the White House. This has prompted speculation over whether the self-styled peace president would react differently if his own son was deployed. With this in mind, former South Park writer Toby Morton has launched the satirical and now viral website draftbarrontrump.com. They created a whole website on satire. That's crazy. The site mocks Donald Trump by encouraging him to send his youngest son Barron to war. It cites Trump's courage and proven genes as arguments for sending his 19-year-old to war while showing pictures of him napping. America is strong because its leaders are strong, read the subheading of the website. President Trump proves that every day. Naturally, his son Barron is more than ready to defend the country his father so boldly commands. You know what? This doesn't even have to just be, why stop at Barron Trump? Why don't all of MAGA and their kids who are able-bodied go over there? I mean, they say one of the most patriotic things you can do for your country is to enlist. So why not? It concludes, service is honor, strength is inherited, dog bless Barron. They didn't say God bless, it said dog bless. The site, described as dedicated to honoring the strongest and bravest voices in war, also features absurdist testimonials, including one by Barron's brother, Donald Trump Jr. This moment is really about Barron, okay? Always has been. He represents strength, courage, and service. I'll be honoring that sacrifice in my own way, mainly by talking about it from a safe distance. It's crazy is that it's satire because all of what's being said could very well be true. Another is signed Eric Trump. People always say I'm stupid, which is totally unfair because I understand a lot about pancakes. Pancakes are complex. You got batter, heat, timing. If you rush it, you ruin everything. I think about pancakes a lot, mostly pancakes. This is Morton, who has achieved notoriety for buying up website names and creating satirical sites, has promoted the website on social media along with another site, resignchuck.com, which calls for the resignation of Democratic Party leader Chuck Schumer for his alleged lack of opposition to Trump's actions. The launch of draftbarron.com has led to the hashtag #SendBarron, with thousands of social media users demanding that Barron be called up to serve alongside the soldiers his fathers has sent into battle. And the rest of them are just a bunch of tweets. Hey, like I said, satire or not, why not? But we know they're not going to do that. They'll be the ones that sit online and say, oh, this is what I voted for, because that's like MAGA's other slogan besides Make America Great Again. This is what I voted for, knowing daggone well it is not. Whenever I see them say that this is what I voted for, I look at it as that is a coping mechanism for them. That's what I see it as. They don't mean it, but they say it because it's a mantra and they feel like they have to say it. Now let's move on to this story right here. Now, this story is heavy. Like, this story, when I first heard about it, I said, I definitely got to talk about this one because this is crazy. I don't know what's going on with some of these kids today and their mindset. Look at this. 3 boys ages 12, 13, and 15 charged as adults for allegedly violating a girl at a community garden. What in the world? When I saw this, before I even saw their faces, I saw their ages. And I said, wait a minute, hold up. 12, 13, and 15? And this is out of Miami, by the way. It says 3 boys are being charged as adults, as they should, in connection with the alleged violation of a 12-year-old girl at a community garden in June 2025. NBC Miami reports that the 3 suspects, ages 12, 13, and 15, were arrested after the June 18, 2025 incident. Records obtained by the outlet show that the 12-year-old and 13-year-old will be facing adult charges, and they were booked into the Metro West Detention Center on February 26. WPLG reports the suspects are Josiah Jones, Nelson Nunez, and Xavier Tyson. And Tyson was 14 at the time of the alleged attack. At their initial court appearance on February 27th, Jones and Nunez were ordered held without bond, according to NBC Miami. CBS News reports indicate, or news reports, there's a warrant out for Tyson's arrest, but he has reportedly moved out of the state, and he was scheduled to appear in court on March 2nd. He moved. How in the world was he able to move out of the state? So, listen, he must be getting help from his parents. If he is, lock them up too. The victim, whose name has not been released, was leaving a friend's house when she saw the 3 suspects and a witness, according to arrest reports obtained by NBC Miami. The victim alleged Nunez grabbed her and took her into a community garden, and that she was screaming while the other 2 suspects and a witness allegedly watched. Who was this other witness? According to Mike Vega, the spokesman for the city of Miami police, Jones and Tyson held the victim down while Nunez allegedly violated her. Not only that, she was screaming for help, and one of them grabbed rocks from the ground and put them in her mouth so she would shut up. Rocks? According to the victim, Nunez allegedly stopped when he heard the victim's father calling her name. The boys fled and were arrested the following day. During the investigation, NBC Miami reports detectives interviewed the witness, whose name has not been released. The witness confirmed the victim's story and said he did not intervene because he was outnumbered and afraid of getting beat up by the other 3 boys. Arrest reports obtained by NBC Miami state Jones was charged with aggravated battery and false imprisonment. Nunes was charged with kidnapping and sexual battery on a minor by a minor. And Tyson was charged with sexual battery, false imprisonment, and lewd and lascivious conduct with a child. Nunes and Jones are being held without bond, as they should be. And like they say, all of them should be charged as adults. Like I said, the ages is what really pulled me into the story before I even saw their faces. Now, this is one of those cases where they have to put their faces out there because of the crime in which was committed. At this point, I don't care what they do with them when they go and lock them up with the hardened criminals. Since they want to be a criminal so bad, and clearly they do, put them there with them. Let them rot. Now, I don't know how much time they're going to get behind bars for this. It most likely won't be life, but I will put it this way. They won't be out. I would say, let's just put it this way. They won't be going to their prom. I mean, 12, 13, and 15. And the way it also sounded is that they said the girl was leaving out of a friend's house and they were there. So I wonder if they knew. I wonder if this girl knew them or if it was random. Because the way that it's like framing, I wouldn't be surprised if they knew her and she knew them, or maybe they knew of her. Scoop said, couldn't be one of mine. They would pray for the jail before I got. That's just like a black parent. They said you gonna want to be in jail rather than deal with me. And if they have and that they have hardened parents like you, Scoop, they're gonna want the same thing. Democrats, I said, after research that they usually hold them until 21. Like I said, and usually at what age do you go to your prom? 17, 18. Mr. Williams says, we know they'll get more time than Jesse Lee, but of course. Remember, also, or what's his name? The one that violated that girl behind the dumpster that was under the influence. And that judge gave him like 3 months. That's another one. They must not know what establishment they live in. But anyway, yeah. Send them up the river with no paddle. Next story. Oh, y'all want to hear something ridiculous? Check this out. I saw this the other day. Look at this foolishness. Look at this. Look at this. Look who they got up here, y'all. And this is a real banner, by the way. This is real. This is not AI. Empowering our states to tell the stories for our heroes in American education. Why in the world is Charlie Kirk up there? It's a Charlie Kirk banner hung at the Department of Education alongside MLK Jr. Why and why? First off, at the Department of Education is a joke. Didn't he drop out of junior college? I don't think he finished any type of education past high school. Let's check this out. Charlie Kirk's banner has been placed alongside the 5 heroes of American education on the Department of Education building. Besides Kirk, other portraits also include those of Benjamin Franklin, MLK Jr., Anne Sullivan, Booker T. Washington, and Catherine Beecher. Authorities decorated many federal buildings to celebrate the nation's 250th anniversary. However, the decision to honor Kirk by installing his banner on the DOE building has drawn widespread attention. It should draw widespread criticism. It says the Department of Education building now bears the photo of Kirk alongside MLK with 4 other heroes for their contributions to American education. How is he contributing to American education? Can someone please help me out with this? How was he? Y'all, I would not be surprised if they start putting Charlie Kirk stuff in some of these books in your kids' schools. I would not be surprised. And a lot of it's going to be filled with a bunch of lies anyway. Shoot, a lot of it's filled with lies now with what they talk about. Besides the portraits, there's another banner hung, which reads, "Empowering our states to tell the stories of our heroes in American education." However, the placement of Kirk beside prominent contributors to education has drawn mixed reactions from the public. Several users took to social media to share their reactions to Kirk's portrait on the DOE building. One user referred to Kirk's brief attendance at Harper College before he started his conservative youth organization, Turning Point USA, wrote, "He's a college dropout," which we know, "who's discouraged secondary education." Another wrote, "Truly despicable. Charlie Kirk did not even graduate from college. What an embarrassment." A third mentioned, "Charlie did great work in the conservative movement, but don't think it warrants his picture on the Department of Education building." I would argue and say he did not do great work for the conservatives. He actually tainted it in a major way. It says, "This is wrong on so many levels." A fourth one added, "Back then, Kirk expressed his concerns about higher education. He pointed out that the pathway of achieving financial security and career success through college was declining. Well, you wouldn't know. You did drop out. Well, he did drop out. He advised students to do anything rather than pursue a 4-year degree. In fact, he argued it was no use to them. Plus, he also encouraged young people to pursue entrepreneurship instead." Kirk further published a book titled The College Scam. In the book, he outlined his firm stance on college teaching methods and the education system as a whole. The premise of the book is that, regardless of your walk of life, if you are a parent or a grandparent or a student, there must be agreed upon consensus that higher education has become a scam.
Listen. Fuck up. Get.
Damn. It's a bunch of bull.
Like I said, even beyond the grave, y'all, they are still going to try to push. And notice that they said alongside MLK. Remember when I did that live, that Patrick, Bet, David, and the other clowns was up there trying to say that Charlie Kirk was better or more influential than Dr. King? I don't care if you do put his banner next to or alongside Dr. King. He still is not. He could not float in his shoes, let alone walk in them. So we just giving out awards beyond the grave now, I suppose. Okay. You notice what I didn't hear from in this article, or whose name they didn't drop, was Erica Kirk. KG said he would have turned the kids into uneducated grifters too. I would argue and say that that's what he was trying to do anyway. I mean, why else was he going to them schools? And again, remember, he would only go up there and have these so-called debates with college students. He never debated anyone around his age or even on his level of, if you want to call it that, intellect. Because every time he did, he got cooked. And Emerald Fuddle is effectively doing the same thing. But the thing is, with Emerald Fuddle, he's not charismatic enough to make himself appear intellectual like Charlie Kirk did. At least he did that. Even though we saw through his smoke screen. Emerald Fuddle, on the other hand, he has no charisma at all. Like, absolutely none. Oh, yes, Scoop. Yeah. Let's not forget that the whole participation award and trophy started with the soccer mom. But these are the same ones that try to tell black people we didn't earn anything on merit. But y'all the ones that started the participation award. Black people didn't start that. We believe there is a first, second, and third place in these competitions and these events. Or a gold, silver, and bronze if you're talking about the Olympics. But no, y'all want to give out participation of awards just for playing in the event. That way your kid doesn't go home crying or feeling left out. Hey, that's life. That's life. But see, when you have been grown, no, I want to say that. When you have been raised and told that you are a winner no matter what, and that you will never lose in life, this is what happens. What's going on, Jekyll and Dewani? Now let's move on to the next one. Now, remember I told you I was going to bring up Deon Cole, but by the way, Deon Cole did a very, very good job hosting the Image Awards. He had me dying, and I think he had a lot of material to work with, especially coming off of the BAFTAs. But he got so much backlash from two different sides. The first side he got bashed from was the people who was defending John Davison with the Tourette situation at the BAFTAs. And on the other side, you had Nicki Minaj's delusional barbs, as she calls them, going at him for the joke that he made about her, even though he was joking about quite a few people. But the minute he said something about Nicki Minaj, oh, now they want to start World War III. So let's go ahead and get into this. It says Deon Cole is pulling back the curtain on the darker side of the internet fandom after hosting the 2026 Image Awards. Days after the stage as host of the annual celebration of Black excellence, the comedian took to Instagram to share a series of graphic direct messages he says flooded his inbox following a joke referencing rapper Nicki Minaj during the ceremony. Now, I don't know if they're going to quote the joke that he made in here, but basically, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing it, he was saying that, with Nicki Minaj and all her antics lately with MAGA, he says, I have a feeling that whatever she injected into her backside has floated up to her brain and just kind of messed her up. Like, that's just me paraphrasing what he said. And they got so worked up about that. They made it seem like he did his whole opening monologue just on her. He talked about a few things there. That hers was like, he only talked about her one time and that was it. It says, rather than issuing a lengthy statement, Cole allowed the screenshots to speak for themselves. The slides showed anonymous accounts sending explicit insults, vulgar threats, and deeply personal attacks, including cruel comments referencing the comedian's late mother, which was, in my opinion, going overboard. Like, they was literally, like, they found a picture of him with his mother who was deceased, and they made very, very dark, mean-spirited comments about his mother. He said the post quickly circulated online, drawing thousands of reactions from supporters shocked by the intensity of the harassment. And like I said, it says the photo might have been removed, so you can't see what it said. It says fellow comic Jamie Foxx left an encouraging comment on the post that read, one of the greatest comedic minds to ever grace the planet. We got you. Keep filling the universe with laughter. Rapper and fellow Chicagoan Shauna chimed in. It says they ain't tired of doing this ish yet. Comedian Earthquake added, I stand with you, my dear brother. The backlash appears to tie to a moment from Cole's opening monologue at the awards where he delivered a comedic prayer that touched on pop culture headlines and celebrity controversies. During the bit, he referenced Nicki Minaj while joking about her recent public discourse. He says, I want you to bless our sister Nicki Minaj. She's been going through a lot lately, but hasn't been herself. Lord, I believe whatever is in her ass is affecting her brain. Take it out on her ass. And I'm going to be honest, when he said that, I actually laughed at that. That was actually funny. Like every joke that Deon, if y'all haven't got a chance, y'all can go and just type in Deon Cole Image Awards. Every joke that he said pretty much landed. It wasn't like he was trying to force a laughter out of the people. And I can't stand so-called comedians that do that because that just comes off as corny to me. He said the joke drew laughter inside the venue, but quickly sparked debate online, particularly among Minaj's fiercely loyal fan base known for mobilizing rapidly across social media platforms in defense of the rapper. It got so bad that I was even reading comments from people that got mad at the people who was laughing at the joke. I'm like, what is wrong with y'all? I say, y'all are no different than MAGA at this point. It says Minaj has not publicly responded to either Cole's joke or his subsequent Instagram post. Because what is she going to say? How is she going to respond? Cole, a veteran comedian and actor known for roles in Blackish and his stand-up special, has built his career on sharp observational humor that often walks the line between uncomfortable truth and cultural critique. His Image Awards hosting gig leaned heavily into the tradition, mixing celebration with satire. Let me just tell y'all something. Scary Movie 6 comes out in June. If all these people right here are so-called offended by what Deon Cole had to say, wait till y'all see what the Wayans brothers got cooked up for us when that movie comes out. It says, but the fallout highlights an increasingly familiar tension in the digital age. Aggressive, highly organized online fandoms. For many observers, Cole's post shifted the conversation away from whether the joke landed and toward a broader concern about harassment culture online, particularly when criticism escalates into personal attacks. I'm like, the people that's defending Nikki, do y'all know the stuff that she has said about you? It said, by sharing the messages publicly, Cole appeared less interested in prolonging the feud than documenting what happens after the punchline fades and the internet takes over. Well, one thing I will give Deon Cole is this. He ain't apologized. So I applaud him for that. And he shouldn't have to. He shouldn't have to apologize. As a matter of fact, I will argue that he was tame with her. Now, if this was a stand-up show, he'd probably go all the way in, but he's hosting, so he has to keep things flowing for the sake of time, and he has to spread out his jokes evenly across the board, which he did. You man said, how are we supposed to play GTA 6 with this attitude? Oh my God. Oh, it's funny you say that, because it's like, I can't wait for that game to come out. November can't get here fast enough. It can't. I still keep thinking to myself, we was going to get that game in May, and it was going to be Memorial Day weekend. But we just got to wait a little bit longer. Exactly, Jesse. Apologize for what? Like I said, he's not. I'm just saying hypothetically, because you know how they like us to bend the knee. And he shouldn't have to. Because the thing is, they are so mad with him, so-called, they wouldn't even accept it. So why? But I saw some of the posts or the screenshots of some of the stuff that they were saying. I'm like, y'all made it seem like he actually made a threat on her life. The way that they was coming at him. I mean, they were talking about his dead mother. They was talking about him, sending him all kinds of death threats. I mean, it was absolutely insane. But shout out to him. And like I said, if y'all have not seen his monologue, just go on YouTube and type in Deon Cole Image Awards and it should pop up. But this story right here is very interesting. And I'm mad I don't have the video to go along with it. How many of y'all heard about what happened at this restaurant called Serenita's? Now, this is where I would say FBA in particular, where becoming bilingual will help out a lot, because you just never know with some of these people who speak in another language. First off, if they speak in English and then they start switching up and start speaking in their native tongue, what they're saying, because this restaurant or whoever worked there was not expecting this. So basically, to summarize it before I go into the article itself, this woman, this black woman, went into a restaurant. It was like a Mexican style restaurant, or I'm not sure, but it was a place where it served Mexican food. And she ended up getting into a verbal dispute with one of the workers there. And the worker had called her a certain term. It was an anti-black slur, but she said it in Spanish. Wait, is that, hold up, is that the link? Oh, hold on. I think KG. See, that's the thing about freaking KG, can you DM that to me on Twitter? Because I can't highlight it. I can't copy and paste the link on here. Can you DM that to me? And I can pull it up. Because like I said, it was hard for me to try to find the video. It was so hard, in fact, that I think they scrubbed it off of the woman's actual Instagram account. The one who actually had the encounter. Okay, we got the video. Shout out to KG for sending it to me so y'all can actually see for yourself. All right, let me go ahead now and share my screen.
This lady called me Grande Mayate, and you didn't know I spoke Spanish. You shouldn't have called me that, and you could have apologized, and she did too.
The setting is a restaurant that I just walked into to get something to eat while my 18-year-old took my 5-year-old and 4-year-old to get them ice cream. I simply asked for a to-go menu, and while I was scanning the menu, two of the waitresses started to banter in Spanish and started talking about me in Spanish and referred to me as a mayate grande, which is a large N-word or a large, basically derogatory term. For context, my father is Panamanian. He was born in Panama. His first language is Spanish. And although he could have been a better father to me, that is something he did teach me, is that while I am not fluent in Spanish, I do know the word very well. And I know when it's being used in a way to demean me and to insult me. And at that moment, those women were talking about me. And when I called them out, their eyes got big as this. And for those of you that feel like, oh, well, we need to see the whole video, let me say, when she initially called me that, my heart just sank, and I threw the menu down, and their eyes were like this because they knew that I knew what they were saying, and I left. And I went over to the store where my kids were, and I asked the girl, like, Mayate mean bad word, right? And she was like, yeah. And she was a Hispanic girl. And I went back over there and I confronted the lady very quietly because I wasn't trying to make a scene.
You call me Mayate? I'm sorry? You call me Mayate? You call me that? You did. And you call me Mayate? You call me that. That's, first of all, let me tell y'all something. You don't know what people can understand. And that was so unkind of you. That was so unkind of you. No. You can even say sorry. You can apologize. We're gonna keep playing dumb. Okay. I want you to, that was very unkind of you. That's unkind of you. But that's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna put y'all on TikTok. No problem. Nah, let me go ahead and make it. Matter of fact,
because I'm like, you know what? This is a learning moment. Like, let me try to be the bigger person. And she was trying to gaslight me. Like, no, that's not what I was saying. No, you're mistaken. I didn't say that. Girl, yes, you did. So that just got me more and more pissed off. And that's what escalated the situation.
You asked me if I wanted to go, and then you called me a grande mayate. Have a good, yeah, she did. Yeah.
I'm making this video because it's important to me to raise my children right. I can't expect to bear good fruit and my seeds are rotten. I'm also making this video because I know that back in the day, my ancestors had to be called all kind of words and names, and they had to eat that. And this is not back in the day. Like, I have every opportunity to not only defend myself, but to also put out there establishments and businesses that do not prioritize equality and the Black dollar when it comes to who they hire and how they represent that establishment's morals and values. And even after being disrespected and saying, would you apologize to me because what you did was unkind? Like, she didn't even deserve that chance. I want that establishment to see this video and know I gave her a chance and she still was playing dumb. So whatever happens after this point is on y'all, but don't eat at that place. And also be very mindful of where y'all eat, because if this is what's happening in the front while I'm looking at the menu, what else is happening in the kitchen? Let's keep it 100. If I'm in the front ordering and I gotta be the big N word or big whatever, because I know there's gonna be people in the comments saying mayate can mean something else. It don't mean it's you don't call nobody that is a patron of a restaurant. Let's just keep it clear. What are you doing to my food in the back? And my thing is this: as Black and brown people, we keep preaching unity, but then these type of interactions keep happening. Come on now, y'all. It's not right. It's not okay. It's not okay. Sirenitas in Long Beach, California on Willow. That used to be Super Taco, because I've been in Long Beach my whole life. Yeah, it used to be 31 Flavors and Super Taco. Used to be right there. I used to go there as a little girl that went to Lafayette. Play with somebody else. And to the black man who had my back, I appreciate it. Thank you, brother. No, you're not sorry. No, you're not.
All right, so there you have it right there. And to the person who asked where is this located, it's in Long Beach. Well, she just said it. And they actually spammed, like they went to Yelp and gave them a whole bunch of 1-star reviews and a whole bunch of stuff like that. I think people are not going to go to their establishment after this. So, but shout out to KG for finding the video so we can have something to go off of. And yes, you're right. There is no black and brown unity. I mean, we're seeing that right now. As a matter of fact, speaking of, I actually saw a video. I think yesterday, or maybe it was earlier today, where they were doing those street interviews, and it was like I guess a South of the Borderian asking this Mexican person. He says, "Do you feel Mexicans should have the rights to the N-word?" And that Mexican dude just with no hesitation said, "Yeah." And the guy asked him why. He said, "Well, because we're like family. You know, Mexicans and black people, we're pretty much the same." I was like, oh my God. It's the entitlement for me. It's the straight up entitlement of the nerve of thinking that you can just do whatever you want and not get checked. Antoine said it looks like they have years of bad reviews. Well, they about to get more bad reviews. Wallace said Philip Scott covered that video. Okay. It wasn't from his channel, though, that I saw it. It was somebody else. But yeah, that's the video right there, y'all. That's the video right there. But we got one more video we got to go over, but I feel it's only fitting that we introduce this story the proper way. Kristi Noem got fired on her day on. Now, we've heard getting fired on your day off, but she got fired on her day off on. Like literally, she got a demotion. And we're going to go over this new spot that Trump done put her in. And yes, before we get into it, Xavier, I did see that it was another incident where you had a young GOP group chat that got leaked. And it reminds you, so, hey, where's JD Vance at to say that these are just some young and dumb kids? I'm waiting. So let's look into this. Why did Trump fire Kristi Noem as DHS secretary, a person who did not need to be in that spot? But then again, most of that cabinet don't need to be there. Who is Mark Wayne Mullen? Let's see this. United States President Donald Trump has announced that Kristi Noem will be replaced as Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, marking the first major change to his cabinet since his reelection. Noem has overseen Trump's controversial immigration crackdown, will instead serve as a special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, a newly created security initiative. Now, before we go into this, let's look into what this Shield of the Americas is, because when I saw that, I said, what in the world is this? Shield of the Americas is a 2026, which means that this was just created this year. Mind you, we are in the beginning of March. We are now at the end of the first week of March, and this was just created. It's a 2026 Trump administration security initiative and regional coalition in the Western Hemisphere aimed at combating drug cartels, trafficking, and illegal immigration. Former Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was appointed as the special envoy for this initiative, which focuses on strengthening border and security regional partnerships. Something tells me she nor that position will be there that long. Just like they made that Doge thing, and where's Doge now? All right, I don't have to read too much more into it. I just needed a summary. Let's get back to the article. I don't care to know who Kristi Noem is. A woman who has gone to one too many Botox conventions. It says in a post on his Truth Social account, Trump wrote that he was removing Noem from her position. Despite the move, he praised her tenure, saying she has served as well, if you say so. Hold on, y'all. Had to hydrate right quick. It says Trump added that no one will be reassigned to a newly created role as special envoy for the Shield of the Americas, a security initiative focused on the Western Hemisphere. To replace her, Trump said he would nominate Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma, whom he described as a quote-unquote MAGA warrior. Oh, God. That means he's putting another so-called fan in these positions, another person who isn't qualified. I want y'all to understand something here. These individuals cannot talk about DEI anymore. I mean, they can't. I mean, at least not in the angle that they talked about it, because you put someone there who you described as a MAGA warrior. What is this? A MAGA warrior? Again, another person that's probably most likely not qualified for this spot. The announcement came following controversy over a $220 million border security advertising campaign, featuring Noem on horseback. After Noem told Congress that Trump had approved the campaign, Trump denied involvement. In a phone interview with the Reuters news agency, he said, "I never knew anything about it." Trump's decision to reassign Noem followed a 2-day congressional hearing on Capitol Hill, during which the Homeland Security Secretary faced questioning about her actions from members of both parties. So they asked her about the Minneapolis shooting. They asked her about the $220 million advertisement campaign, FEMA mismanagement, and that sounds about it. It says, "What is the Shield of the Americas?" I actually just read over that, and then they go over who is Markwayne Mullin. They said a former business owner and an undefeated MMA fighter. Y'all, this is who he's replacing Kristi Noem with in the Department of hold on. Let me make sure I get it right. As the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security. This is who he's replacing her with. Let me read his rundown. A former business owner and undefeated MMA fighter with a 5-0 professional record. Mullin served for a decade in the House of Representatives before moving to the Senate in 2023. Known for his MAGA warrior persona, he has long acted as a key intermediary between the White House and congressional Republicans. If confirmed, Mullin, a citizen of the Cherokee Nation, would be the first Native American to lead the DHS. He described himself on his website as a successful business owner, working cow calf rancher, and proud husband of 28 years to Mrs. Kristi Mullin. He has previously supported Homeland policy and administration immigration crackdown. And by the way, this is him right here. Now you tell me, there it is, Jesse. As soon as I saw that, you tell me, native where? Someone please. Man, this is a joke. This is one big joke. One big running joke, might I add. Let me just go ahead now and just drop the link in the chat. Y'all can come on up. I did not read the rest of that. If y'all want to come up, there it is.
What's going on, Torrin? What's going on, everybody? Torrin, can you hear me?
Are you driving?
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Hold on, hold on, Grip. All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that, but yeah, that Miami store, when I first saw that, that was crazy. Now I'm gonna do a little piggyback on some of y'all like to do with the tether stuff. I would say this: two of them three boys, yeah, that I don't think they're FBA. Now that one with the Jones, maybe he FBA, maybe he's not. I'm not gonna defend. I ain't defending on what they did, but still, that's some. Oof. And like Scoop said, man, if I did something like that, I think my mom would have probably, deleted me. Cause ain't no way I'm doing something like that and think I'm going to jail. You shoot. But that story, man, I don't some of these kids, man, y'all gonna find out the hard way. Pause. You gonna find out the hard way. Also with Kristi Noem. So you basically replaced the woman who don't know what she's doing with the guy who got told to sit down by Bernie Sanders. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, that's him.
Yes, that's the one. Yes.
Okay. I had to think about because I literally just saw that video yesterday.
That's the one KG played.
The one that KG did. Yeah. Because the thing is, I didn't catch KG's live, so I had to catch the playback. But yeah, I was watching that and I was like, they about to scrap.
Shut up, kid. No buzzer. But yeah, that's the one. Like you got told by a Democrat, a liberal, to sit down, even though Bernie's independent, he votes for Democrats. But yeah, like we ain't gonna take him seriously. So I'll let my plane there so I won't get buzzer. I want my buzzer though, Jonathan.
All right, shout out to Waller for coming up. Next up, we got Jesse. What's going on?
Certified salute, Torian. Certified salute to you. Certified salute to the chat. Oh man. Okay. The Miami boys with some goddamn tethers. As soon as I seen they pictures, I was like, yep, these are tethers. Tether alert, tether alert. Ain't no FBA children doing no shit like that. Deon Cole, salute to you. Keep clowning these barbs. To hell with them barbs. They can kick rocks. Whoever thought it was a good idea to put Charlie Kirk on any kind of banner, they need to be dealt with. I'm just gonna put it like that. That dude's a college dropout. All he did was talk ish about black people. There's no way we should be praising him or remembering him. Kristi Noem's replacement, like I said, that dude he was about to scrap with somebody I sent in here recently. And what else was it? Oh, the Monte comment. Yeah, them Latinos, they be thinking they can get away with speaking their language, talking sideways to us in their language, and they don't think that we can interpret what they're saying, but we know exactly what they're saying. And then when they find out that we can speak their language, that fucks with their whole mental. So appreciate you having me on.
No problem.
No buzzer today, hack son.
Shout out to Jesse for coming up. Next up, we got Samuel. What's going on?
Hey, Torian, what's going on? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. First, about that whole situation with the three boys in Florida. You know what, Torian? Hey, whatever they can get sentenced to the extreme. I don't mean give them death or things like that, but they definitely do need to do some serious time. And
they definitely gonna do some time for sure. I mean, they already said they charging them as adults. So when you hear that, then that means they're gonna treat them as their adults. They're not gonna treat them like juveniles, which means they ain't about to give them no slap on the wrist. And then on top of that, these are three deeply melanated boys. At that, they ain't the Operation Protect the White Boy only swings one way. That pendulum only swings one way.
And exactly, Torian. So I always question, who raises this younger generation? I mean, I would say, Torian, from our generation, we were raised with just being black and melanated, you already gonna have the world against you in America, period. And it's like nobody's not teaching these younger generation that same mentality, And it's just sad. So
I'll play devil's advocate with this. You can raise your kids to the best of your ability, make them upstanding individuals, but if they're influenced by something on the outside, which 9 times out of 10 it could very well be, that's what they're going to go with because they're testing the waters. I think all of us growing up, we probably did it, but see, we grew up at a time when there wasn't social media, so we wasn't that easily influenced. Like back then, you had to actually go outside to be influenced like that. Nowadays, the influence is right at your fingertips. It's right there. It's like in the house with you. You don't have to go outside for it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that, Torian. You know, it's kind of like I faced skepticism over a post I did not too long ago, where I said just because you grow up in a 2-parent household with Christian values and a conservative outlook doesn't mean you're going to be a successful, prosperous person in life. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny you bring up the 2-parent household. I mean, think about Ethan Crumbly.
Right.
Grew up in a
You know?
2-parent household, and now he's locked up for life, and both of his parents are locked up because guilt by association. It's funny that's happened because I just got sent an article maybe yesterday where they just sentenced a dad for practically the same thing what happened with Ethan Crumbly's parents. You know, like their kid had did something, and just by guilt by association, and I think because he went and got something of his dad's, and I don't know if he did it or if he didn't, but or planned to do it. Now he's locked up because of something his son did or was about to do.
Right. And then, you know, even under the defense of a single parent household, our vice president and potential GOP nominee came from a single parent household with a drug addicted mother. So, you know, you can't completely slam, you know, single parent household like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think this is the last question, Torian, before I get the buzzer. Everything that's going on with Nicki Minaj, do you think it's going to have an effect on her music? And will we see that?
Definitely. Oh, if she releases any more music, but I don't know many people that's checking for her music wise these days anyway.
I know I'm not Torian, but I'm gonna go ahead and land my plane right there.
All right, thanks for coming up. Shout out to Samuel. All right, next up we got Xavier. What's going on?
Hey, brother Torian, B1, man.
B1.
Hope your weekend is going great.
It is.
Yeah. So first off, those 3 boys, that was some diabolical work, and they definitely need to have consequences thrown their way. I'm a little on the fence about, you know, trying young kids like that as an adults, because I feel like they're not going to learn anything. They're just going to become more criminalized in the system. But I mean, putting them in some kind of reform situation might help more than that, because I think it's.
Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
Like I said, it all depends. Like I said, like that's typical, and it's like it always depends on the type of crime. Like these 3 violated. They literally, basically, snatched this girl up, pulled her into an open space, and had their way with her. Literally, and the part that got me was in order to gag her, they put rocks in her mouth.
Oh, rocks in her mouth.
Like
crazy.
I think that probably that one was even crazier. And like I said, when you look at a crime like that, that's probably written somewhere in the fine print that if you are a minor and you commit this type of act, like that, or even if you take a life, by default they're going to go straight to charging you as an adult. Because when you think because they have it broken up by juvenile based offenses, and then you have adult level offenses, and that is definitely an adult level act, like a felony right there.
Yeah,
and the
I
thing
agree.
I think that's the part that really got me when I first saw it. Before I had even saw their faces or their names, was their ages.
And the question,
because that's not something you hear every day.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I've seen some really fucked up shit in my life, but that if I hear cases of kids engaging in stuff like that, it really disturbs me, because it begs the question, where are they even picking this up from? Someone had to have influenced them in some way, shape, or form to become like that. But like you said earlier, you can't always put it on the parents, because as a parent myself, I do the best I can to, raise my kids right. But You can only do so much. You're not always with them 24/7, so they could pick up a lot of this really diabolical shit out in the
Yeah.
world. But you just have to pray that they have the discernment to know right from wrong and all that. It's really unfortunate, honestly, and sick. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a case. Sorry to keep flogging on it. I actually seen a case where school kids who are even younger than this guy did that and even put it on video to a girl, and it was disgusting. I don't know what's happening with this new generation, but it's ridiculous. Anyways, as for Latino the Latino anti-blackness, we've already known it's really rampant in that community. And like I mentioned in the chat, that whole group chat that came out, most of those guys saying all those things, all those racist slurs, where most of them are Latino, or at least they had Latino names, and they're unafraid to do this shit now because the same GOP that's pretending to call them out or call out the guy who created the group chat in the first place is now trying to pretend like, oh, these are not our people. These are your people. You encourage this shit. You encourage this for years. Everything from DEI to trying to erase Black history. It's all coming full circle. So you can't just turn around and say these are not your people. These are definitely your people. As for the sister, I was like, it's good on her for even knowing, because I think as Black people in general, we need to actually learn certain languages to be able to keep safe, especially if we're around, other people like.
I've always said that, especially like when there's like a lot of when some Black women still go to these nail shops to get their pedicures and manicures. You never know what they start saying. I always say that if someone who is foreign is speaking to you in English and all of a sudden they switch up and start speaking in their native language, I'm always curious. What are they saying? And are they talking about me? 9 times out of 10, they probably are. And they're banking that you don't know the language.
Mm-hmm. Which is
so
why
like
it's
Wallace,
really...
like Wallace said in the chat, have a translator on you.
Yeah, exactly.
You can download the translators on your phone.
Like Google Translate, yeah, live translation, exactly. So, I mean, shout out to her for at least calling them out to their face, because letting that stuff slide really doesn't help things at all. It's better to address it immediately, and there should be consequences, and rightly so. The last thing, Charlie Kirk. Why is this dude still, being pushed like some kind of intellectual?
They still trying to keep his memory alive. But like I said, many of y'all probably didn't even know that they put a whole banner up of him until I said.
Oh no, I saw the video. Oh, I saw the video 2 days ago. There was this Black lady that she was talking about it. She was flabbergasted because she has she, according to her, she had like 5 different degrees, and Charlie Kirk, who's a dropout, gets his face plastered on the Department of Education. The same guy who was trying to tell people not to go to college. For God's sake, that is crazy. That is crazy. These guys would promote. They would promote a baked potato. Really, if as long as the baked potato is white, it makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. Anyways, that's really all I got. I got to get back to work, but thanks for bringing me up.
No problem. Thanks for coming up. Shout out to Xavier from coming up. Next up, we got Joseph. What's going on?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I have to watch the playback again because I missed so much, and I just happened to catch it live. Apologies for that. 2 things. Then as the movie stay winning, let it continue to win. I'm still waiting for that Oscar sweep. Did the Oscars happen already?
It's next Sunday, the 15th.
Next Sunday, okay. Well, I will be hopeful for that Oscar sweep. And what happened in Florida? That could be a whole video in and of itself. And you could
I
have a panel discussion about that.
I had like said that if I wasn't incorporating this into the live, that probably would have been its own separate video. But because like, you know, I already have like so many other commentaries, that's why I said let me just put it into this recap.
Because I've had I haven't had a necessarily had a conversation with someone about this, but I said, well, when it comes to life experiences, I said to myself, the less the world has to teach you, the better. Because when the world teaches you a lesson, it's branded. It's like a scar that never gets removed.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were raised in the right way at home by your parents and your community, when that experience does happen, it doesn't leave as much of a scar as if you go out wilding and then the world just slams a consequence on you that's not easily removed or ever removed.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna land there. Thanks for having me up.
No problem. All right. We about to bring up our last person. And of course, I have to play the intro.
Heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred.
Miss Nisi, take us home.
No timer, please.
Oh, I don't know if people noticed this, but I didn't put the timer on today. So if y'all noticed that it felt like it was going on a while, I didn't turn the timer on, but I purposely didn't say it until now because you're the last.
All right, I'm getting on camera.
Okay.
Can you see me?
I can see you.
First of all, good afternoon to you, Torian, and family in the chat.
Good afternoon.
I have listened to all that was spoken about today. And I'm speaking from my spirit, what the Lord has put on my spirit. Family, we all know this is the end times. Have your power tools at the ready. Get your necessary supplies. We as a people have always fought from the day of our conception. We as the Most High's chosen people know we're going through trial by fire right now. The devil is pulling out the stops. We're being assaulted on all fronts. We as a people, we are here. We're going to be here. And when it's all said and done, we have the victory. But by no means, if shit is brought our way, we going to answer the call. And it ain't going to be necessarily in the way you expect it. Torian, family in the chat, we know what we got to do. We know what we got to do. I'm going to land there.
All right. Appreciate you coming up. Shout out to Miss Nisi for closing us out with that spiritual message, as only she can pull off. Well, that is going to bring this weekly recap to a close. I do have a live that I will be doing tomorrow. It's not the True Crime Sunday. That'll be next Sunday. But I do have a live that I have coming tomorrow on something that I found very, very interesting about a film that I'm sure many of us in this chat have watched. I'm not going to say what the movie is, but there was a video breakdown someone did, and I found it on Threads a couple days ago, and I downloaded that video, and we're going to watch it because it's going to blow your mind. And the thing is, I didn't pick up on any of that, and I'm mad at myself that I didn't when I first watched this movie. But we're going to talk about that tomorrow. That live will be at the same time as this one was today at 11, so definitely be tuned in for that. If y'all are a member of the channel, like I told you, I'm going to post up the other members only video today when I close this live down, so y'all will see it in maybe about 5 or 10 minutes. But with that being said, I'm not giving a hint. I mean, if I give a hint, you gonna know what it is. But it's not. I'll say this: it's not an old movie. It's not an old movie. Like, it's not something that came out like in the 90s or even the early 2000s. But it's I guess you could say it's still fairly recent. It had a lot of people talk about it when it first came out. I'll put it like that. It's not Get Out. Okay, it's not even anything by Jordan Peele. I'll leave it at that. Y'all will find out tomorrow, though. But anyway, y'all, we are about to get up out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. I think it's pretty, it's okay where I'm at. Stay warm, whatever. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Be safe. And most importantly, be one.